do you have an insight into what is? When you have an insight, from that there is immediate action. Because to me, action is not tomorrow. Action not dependent on some ideology, which is the ideology is in the future, and there's constant adjustment to that ideology. Therefore, there is conflict. If there is an action which is per se, for itself, which is without cause and motive, and therefore, see what is implied in it. No regrets, no retention of those regrets, where action is always free. And this action is possible only when there is insight born of intelligence. How do you have an insight into what is? What is the state of your mind when you are not escaping, not trying to transform or deform what is? What is the state of that mind that's looking? I may say something which may be shocking, but please go into it with me. The state of the mind that has an insight, it is completely empty. Right? Because it's free from escapes, free from suppression, analysis, and so on. So when all these burdens are taken away, right, because you see the absurdity of them, it's like taking away heavy burden. So there is freedom. Freedom implies an emptiness to observe, right? And that emptiness gives you insight into violence. Not the various forms of violence, the whole nature of violence and the structure of violence. And therefore there is immediate action about violence, which means you are free completely from all violence. You get it, for God's sake, get it. We are not playing intellectual game or analytical games. We are concerned with the awakening of intelligence. As I said, intelligence means, according to the dictionary, reading between the lines. See what is implied in reading between the lines. That you must be so awakened by not to be caught by words, but to see clearly, see the clarity in which there is no print. Because in between the lines there is no printing, and there is only white space, which is clarity. And that clarity, if you have, gives you insight to what is being said on the page. Insight implies observing what is with a mind that is completely free and therefore empty to observe what is. And therefore you have an insight. That is, when you are violent, please follow this. When you are violent and do not escape from violence, avoid it, try to transform it into some nonsensical non-violence and so on, then you are free of all that burden. Being free, the mind is empty. That emptiness gives you insight. And when you have insight into violence, you're no longer violent. You see without effort. That's what I want to get at. Huh?